Football Manager or various other management games has been a part of my life since 2007, since LMA Manager 2007 and Championship Manager 2006 on the original Xbox. This is very important to me because despite no matter where I am in my life, I always find myself for 3 to 4 months completely addicted to a save. And this year, Football Manager, for the first time in what feels like forever, is actually reaching somewhat of a critical bite point. And what I mean by this is that typically the Football Manager community is incredibly loyal and usually is very understanding of what is happening behind the scenes of Sports Interactive. This is the first year that there's been widespread accepted concerns and a general feeling that we're going in the wrong direction. And I want to go through why. So, comment down below your thoughts on the new FM, and like, subscribe, and Vizeh Designs for the best football prints all made by myself. I've not got any FM prints, however, I have made quite a few custom prints of people's like Football Manager goals from like Champions League finals and so on and so forth. If you can't tell, the actual inspiration of the actual design itself is based from Football Manager, the kind of circular 2D design. So yeah, check it out. Halloween for 70% off all items. And let's get into FM. Now, I did a video about a year and a half ago about a retrospective about FM because this is a game that means a lot to me and to a lot of you guys as well. I don't speak about it much because it's not really a game that gets too much attention online. However, to me, it means a lot. And maybe you've seen videos on YouTube or you've seen posts on social media about there being an all-around concern, and maybe you're a bit confused on what's going on. Maybe you're a casual, you don't really play the game at all, but you're curious. This is what's going on with FM, and let's talk about it. So let's get into the main points. Now, the most important thing you need to remember about this FM is that it is a new engine. Now, this is a very big thing and should be seen as a very good thing. FM has been critiqued many times for having a kind of similar look, and especially when it comes to the match engine is always the one thing that people critique and say that is behind the times. And I can get why the 3D engine originally may feel like it is behind the times compared to what we get nowadays, you know. And there has been steps forward, especially with the lighting and the animations. However, it is about time that we move into the new generation, and this is that step towards that with the Unity engine. Now, this has obviously caused a lot of problems because this means that every aspect of the game needs to be redesigned and reworked because, again, a new engine for a game as detailed as Football Manager is only inevitable to cause a lot of headaches, and it's been obviously shown, not only just by what we've seen online and by the roadmap, but also by the actual development notes by Miles himself, the owner of Sports Interactive. So FM typically is released at the start of November every single year, and this year it's been pushed back by almost a month until the 26th of November is the announced due date, and that should be locked in. And we didn't know of this due date until literally a couple of days ago. And typically it's around the 6th or the 8th of November, which isn't that bad. It's about 3 weeks away. All in all, it's not the end of the world. The key issue is that because of the headaches that's been caused and due to this game, in a very simplistic terms, I'm cutting ahead here, feels like this may be a pretty rushed and cut down game compared to previous expectations. There's, as of right now, not a single announcement of there being a beta or any sort of early access. Now, for the last couple of years, this has been vital for any FM, where if you pre-order the game on Steam or PC or whatever, you get like a week or 2 week period where you get early access on the game, and you can actually play the game before the actual release date. And with that, the sole purpose is to point out bugs, point out issues that FM, Sports Interactive, can use that information to actually make the game better for the actual worldwide standard release. This has been vital for every single FM since, and it's a general rule of thumb that you don't start your main FM save until the actual official game is out because of this reason, because there's, again, it's a detailed game, there will be bugs, there will be issues, and that's just what is expected. So because of this early access, it is vital that this happens. That is, as of right now, not happening. There's been not a single announcement of any early access, despite them now announcing pre-order, and typically with the new pre-order, it then says with early access. There's none of that, and you can see why. Because of this new engine, they're having lots of issues, and I don't think they would imagine the game to be ready to even have an early access. And with there being a new engine with no early access, if there's no sort of beta testing to test out the bugs by the community, my main concern is by the time it reaches its actual release date, there would be so many bugs in this game because of the new engine that can't be caught out beforehand that I just see it as a recipe for disaster. And it is important to remember one key part of this development post by Miles here, that it says the Unity engine makes FM25 the starting point for the next 20 years. So this is step one towards a new FM era, and it feels that way. In terms of, I think this game can be seen as a sort of beta in itself to test out the game for the year, so that by the time it's FM26, that's when we should get an actual proper upgrade and step forward, because of how many things has been removed and the things they are not showing us. That's causing a lot of concern. So let's get into what has been removed and what's been added, okay? So what should you expect new and changed in a new FM if you're not keeping up to date? Things that have been removed is international football. This has been a big deal. According to Sports Interactive, only 5.6% of people even play international football. I'm one of them. I've done it before many times, that by the time it's the summer and I just feel like, hey, there's a World Cup, or hey, there's a Euros on, I just add a new manager and I manage England, or manage Poland, or manage Ireland or Scotland or whatever. Of course, the international football is never accurate. Like, you find yourself playing a Euros with like random teams that aren't even in it, which I find a bit annoying. However, it's something that I've always done, so it is a bit annoying that it's been removed, but it should be added back in for FM26 in a better way. So I could get that. Match shouts has been removed for the new engine. Social media page removed. Creative Club multiplayer as a general has been massively flushed out. According to them, not many people really play multiplayer either, which I find frustrating. But the multiplayer side of it, from my experience, is kind of cluttery anyway. So I can get why they've done this, but I think multiplayer for a lot of people, niche-wise, is a very big part of why they like playing FM. So I think that could be a bit of an issue. Now, I think this adds to a part of the conversation that may be tough for some people. Now, the reason why there's been a lot more uproar than what they would typically be if they just removed this and said it's because of new engine is that there's a new thing added that people are now pointing at for the cause of all these things being changed. And that is women's football. Now, women's football is being added to FM25, which they've been working on a lot, and they've highlighted very in-depth into their development notes that it's been a long-term project and that they are laser-focused. There was laser-focused on introducing women's football in the most authentic way possible. They've put a lot of time and energy and resources into women's football, so when it comes to all these things being removed, a lot of people that probably won't care or won't play women's football, they're associating anything bad about the game and immediately just throwing it onto women's football, which I think is unfair because it is a new engine first and foremost. But I can get the frustration at people that just wouldn't care about women's football. And let's be real, a good chunk of people will not even touch women's football in FM. Like, I'll be honest, I'm not going to play women's football in FM in the same way that I'm not really going to do a save involving a J League in Japan. Like, I'm just, it's not a league that I particularly watch or I know much of. The only way I may play a save involving women's football is if I'm doing like a journeyman save, or like a Euro. That's something that I may do and I may delve into. But I would look at it in the same way that I also managed the Colombian second division and the journeyman save as well. You kind of just take what you get given and you make your own storyline with whatever you come up with. That is why there seems to be a lot of uproar with this game, because women's football has been added, and as they've highlighted, they're laser focused that anything that's been removed or changed that they don't like, they immediately associate with, well, this is because women's football and it's because it's all walk and I hate that. Sports Interactive, they've gone walk. And that's something that you've seen a lot online, which I find a bit ridiculous. In terms of new things that's been added, there is, of course, the Premier League license. This is big. This is the main thing that you will see a lot on social media and any sort of promotion. FM has got Premier League. That is big. That is big. Pretty much everyone saves on any FM has always led to them being Premier League. And some people have never even bothered with even attempting to get the mods for it. And this is one key thing as well. People highlight this to being women's football's issue of why things are being removed. But I think the main reason why is because Sports Interactive is accommodating FM to a much more wider audience, therefore the console audience. More and more people playing FM on console than ever before, because maybe some people don't even have a PC or laptop. There's actually a lot of people that just don't have a PC or laptop, but they have an Xbox or they have a PS4, PS5. Like, you'd be surprised, but a lot of people are now playing FM on console, and by what I'm seeing, and by what I'm seeing by the UI changes, it's making me believe that this is very much the case. I don't think women's football is the reason of why, predominantly, and I think that's an easy thing that people point at, but I think it is the wider audience they're trying to reach out to. So they're making a game much more simple, much more dumbed down, and making it a bit more blocky and tilistic with the UI so that it's easier to navigate for a console audience. Because with FM, it's always been seen as spreadsheet simulators. So a lot of information has just been thrown at you at all times with screens that has so much going on, and if you are someone that has not played FM, that may be very daunting for you. And it looks like by the UI we're seeing here, so here's some examples here by the player screens here. So we got Matoma as an example here. It does look a lot more dumbed down and simple compared to what we typically would get in a normal Football Manager game. Now, for me, skins, it's something that I don't care much about, just because, especially if you're on PC anyway, well, it has to be if you're on PC, you could just get a different skin anyway. Like a reskin, you could just go on, any sort of FM Scout, FM site, and just download a new skin that you like, and then your game's changed. So I won't talk much about the skins. I don't really think it's that nice looking. I think it is definitely much more simplistic and dumbed down to a console audience, to what you see on console. However, if I don't like it, which I typically don't, I just get a different skin, and then you get what you want. So I won't talk much about it. All I could say is that definitely the game is being pushed more for console audience. That's why the Premier League being licensed is so big, because if you're on console, you can't change it. There's no mods, so you're just stuck with what you have. So now that console has Premier League with the actual kits and licenses and the badges and faces, that is so huge. So that is why they've done this. In terms of other things that's been changed, the inbox. So the number one thing most people see in FM is the inbox, where you can just continue and you've got your inbox of all mails of whatever information you're seeing. Like, that's typically what you see. Now it's been changed. So now you have got like a portal now. So portal is now there, and it's been changed up for FM, where you're getting different types of information at once. However, again, it's a lot more streamlined, a bit more tilistic. So therefore, for me, again, it looks more like it's embraced for a console world. Oh yeah, also one little thing that I've not really mentioned here is the different change for the name and also the logo. So it's no longer Football Manager 2025, it's now Football Manager 25. It doesn't make any difference whatsoever. That's just one thing people notice. And also there's a new logo, at least like a sort of like emblem logo. So it looks like this, which for me, if you could just change the FM, because right now it looks a bit like a F3. So if you just make it a little bit, just tilt it a little bit more, and then it looks more like FM. It's sort of meant to resemble for me, like an old-fashioned football. I don't really care it's a logo, but if they just tilt it a little bit, then it'll make a lot more sense. So you may have seen a lot of Football Manager YouTubers come out with concerns about a new game. And the thing is, this is different to like FIFA, because FIFA is kind of really split up in different directions. The FM community is very together, like especially the big boys. Like, they all know each other, and they all pretty much have worked with Sports Interactive. So when they come out with concerns, it probably is a much more bigger deal, because like, they are very close with the people that makes the game, all of them, right? So the fact they're all coming out with concerns, for me, is a big indicator of where we're at. And again, what I'm looking at here is, I think the game is going to be in itself somewhat of a beta, because there's so much to change in an FM game for a new engine. I don't blame them for having a lot of issues with it. And at this stage, I would suggest, it's too late now, obviously, but I would think push it back a year with a new engine to give us a proper upgradable product, other than giving us what looks like would be an unfinished product that may be rushed and delayed because they're cutting out bits from it to make this come out in time. For example, they're cutting out international football to give themselves more time to do this and get it out in time before Christmas. I would rather them just give us like FM 2024 version 2, and like add in the Premier League licenses to that, and like that be it. and then give us the actual full-on game properly with enough time to actually get these things done for FM 2026. That's what I want. Right now, not a single thing has been shown of the match engine experience, the match day experience. Not a single thing has been shown. Only 3 images has been shown, and that is the players and like a portal, and like there's some other work in progress images from a couple of months back, which could be quite dated by now anyway. Like there's these pictures here from the user interface from 3 months ago, work in progress, of course. I wouldn't take too much from this because, again, this is 3 months ago from now. So by the time the game's out, that's 5 months difference. So I don't think you can take too much of this. However, you can definitely see the stylistic of the tiles and that's been changed. That, again, for me, looks like it's more accommodating to a console audience. So I just think that it won't be what we would want it to be. So I'll say lower your expectations. If you're someone that gets a game anyway each year, then you'll get it anyway. But I would probably say if you're someone that really wants to be careful with your money, I would suggest just sticking with FM 2024 at this stage, and then just getting the data packs to update the rosters and update the leagues and kits and so on and so forth, just to do that. And then for FM 2026, that's when all the actual changes will be made, because right now FM 25 feels essentially like a beta release for FM 2026. They're sacrificing parts of the game to make sure this game comes out in time. And I think that's a really bad sign for anything to do with game development. Of course, comment down below your thoughts. This is what is going on with the FM scene right now, and why there's a lot of concern, which you don't really see with FM, because it's always a very easygoing, loyal community that knows what they're going to get and they're happy with it. This is a big change, and it may add to and it may be the typical, trend of like, oh, people just don't like new things and so on and so forth. And that could be a factor here. That could genuinely be a factor that people just don't like new things. So they're going to just not like something new, especially a game like FM that's been so similar for a long time, for so long, that any change will be immediate, like big like shift in how they play the game. And that could be a good factor. That's where I'm at. Tell me down below your thoughts, and I'll see you guys next time. See ya.